everybody, it's Cara. We're gonna be ripping out some plants today and making some more room in the garden. I always think it's pretty satisfying to pull out old plants that are spent and give some other plants some room to grow. There's quite a few different things that we need to pull. First thing though, let's go find the wheelbarrow so that we can put all the plants that we pull into the wheelbarrow and then cart them over to the compost. That way I'm not having to walk back and forth a bunch of times. I think it may be hiding over there behind the flowers. I showed off these flowers a couple videos ago, but the nasturtiums I think are looking really pretty. But these hollyhocks I think look just gorgeous. The Japanese beetles are kind of covering some of them. I can't walk past them and not show them to you again. Oh, got bugs crawling on me too. And the bachelor's button is always covered in bumblebees. Yep, there's the wheelbarrow. Got a shovel and a rake in there though. We don't need that today. Ryan put these boards up on our compost pallets just so that we can wheel the wheelbarrow up and dump straight into the compost. So that's kind of handy. There's actually quite a few volunteer plants growing in our compost. Speaking of the compost, we have 4 compost bins. Only one of them is filled with actual compost material. The other 3 bins just have volunteer plants growing in them. We emptied out a lot of these compost bins when we did our new raised beds earlier this year and used some of the compost in the garden. The kids love playing in this dirt pile here next to the compost whenever I'm in the garden too. This bin in particular has several tomato plants. I mean, I don't know exactly how tall a pallet is, 3 foot maybe? So 3 foot high tomato plants. And this red plant here is an amaranth. And you can see this tomato plant is covered in flowers too. There's of course weeds in here too, but there's multiple tomato plants growing. And around the side of the compost, there's another tomato plant and some sort of squash or pumpkin growing out of the compost as well. Having the compost piles next to the garden is handy just for throwing things in, but since we're ripping out a lot of stuff today, let's just use the wheelbarrow and do it all in one big load. The first thing that we're going to be pulling out today are our broccoli plants. I meant to do it the other day, but I ran out of time. So today, let's get them out of the ground. We harvested lots of yummy broccoli off these plants, so they've served their purpose. And now that it's summertime's here, I want to pull them out so that I can plant something else there. We're in zone 7A in Virginia, and broccoli bolts pretty quickly this time of year here where we are, and it's definitely more of a spring or a fall crop. I may do another batch of it in the fall. Depends on how much energy I have come that time of year though. This section's cleaned up now. I left one cauliflower plant there that is still growing. Now let's move on to that side of the bed. I procrastinated a little bit in harvesting the side shoots, but I'm still gonna go ahead and just pull it out. The purple cauliflower I've been growing has also gone past, and is about to bolt and go to flower. I'm kind of disappointed in this cauliflower, honestly. It had a really pretty color, and I was excited when I first saw it coming up. However, it did not last very long, and the head was rather small. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull those plants out too. Next to the cauliflower here, I have cilantro that's flowering on me. I'm just gonna chop this back severely and hopefully still get a few more cilantro harvests off of this. I do have more cilantro planted in my kitchen garden over next to the house, along with the bulk of my other herbs. It smells really nice sitting here though with all this cilantro and the sage there behind it. This purple cauliflower definitely has a beautiful color, just not necessarily very heat tolerant, I don't think. I can't pull that cauliflower out. I mean, I probably could if I stood up, but lately at this stage in this pregnancy, I've been trying to take things a little easier and not overexert myself with the risk of throwing out my back, because I did do that in a previous pregnancy. So, lesson learned, don't want to throw out my back again. So let me holler at Ryan and see if he can pull up this cauliflower for me. When I was harvesting the other day in one of my harvesting videos, I couldn't pull out that cauliflower either. But all those broccoli came up really easy. So maybe cauliflower just has a stronger root system or bigger root system than broccoli. I don't know. I don't have enough experience with growing cauliflower to know if that's a thing or not. If you do, let me know. I'm curious. I was just thinking maybe there's some sort of correlation there. Or I'm just weak. While I'm waiting on Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and cut back this cilantro. Whenever I'm next to the cilantro, it always makes me think of guacamole. I love good guacamole. I think it smells nice. Cilantro is one of those things, though, I think there's actually a genetic component. You either love it or you hate it and it tastes kind of like soap to you. Thankfully, I don't have the soapy genetic cilantro gene. I'm gonna chop back some of the sage too. These sage flowers are so pretty, but they're drying up now. Can you help me pull out some cauliflower?
Yes.
Ryan came to help me pull up these cauliflower. So there's these 4 purple cauliflower here that I can't get out of the ground. Thank you. While you're here, can you dump the wheelbarrow for me too?
Yeah.
So all this can go in the compost.
Okay.
Well, Ryan made pulling those cauliflower out of the ground look really easy, so I'm just weak, I think.
We're done adding to that one. We start adding to the other ones.
Yeah, so I was showing them how there's lots of volunteer plants in some of the other ones. So maybe should we transplant some of those tomatoes? I mean, we probably have enough tomatoes. But those are like 3-foot tall tomato plants. So I feel really bad just squishing them if we started on the next one.
True.
But
well, it might be a box that didn't have any.
Yeah.
There's tomato plants in everyone.
There's tomato plants in all 3 of the other boxes, but I think the best looking ones are in that far box.
Yeah. Like here's one here, but
yeah. So maybe we just start on this one next.
Yeah. And we were gonna rotate, have box 1, 2, 3, 4, and move everything, all the contents from box 1 to 2 to 4.
As we turned it.
As we turned it, or to turn it. but I
We
don't know.
just haven't been turning it.
It's a lot of work.
Eventually we'll probably just have a big pile somewhere and turn it with the tractor.
Yes.
But for the meantime, we're just using the compost
We're
pallets
just doing long-term composting. You just throw it in,
and leave it for like a year.
leave it for a year, and then move to the next box, throw it in.
Yeah, so eventually it'll break down. It takes a lot longer because it's not getting hot.
Yeah.
And the risk is that if there's any weed seed in there, the weed seed won't get killed off. So I've been trying to just put vegetable garden waste in there and kitchen scraps and stuff, and not weeds that I pull out of the garden.
Yeah.
Those go in the burn pile instead, or just somewhere in the yard. I typically just throw them.
They get mulched up.
Yeah, with the lawnmower. The next project to rip out are some of the sugar snap peas. They're still producing, so we're not going to pull out all of them, but our corn and other things we have planted in front, some of the peas have fallen over on the corn and different veggies. So the ones that have fallen over we're going to pull out, and the ones that are really sickly looking or brown, we'll rip those out too. Just kind of thin it out a little bit and hopefully get a little more airflow in there, because a lot of the peas have some powdery mildew on them. Lucy, our red lab, likes to come in and eat the peas right off the vine. So sometimes she'll grab a pea and she'll be trying to be really gentle and pull it, but she'll pull the whole vine off the trellis with her. So that's part of the reason why some of them are on the ground. But she's too cute doing it. I can't be too mad at her. And I've got my basket here to put any peas that are left on the vines as we pull them off in here. That one's like really brown.
We're pulling out all this. We'll get this corn some more room to grow and spread out, so that'll be good.
This corn that Ryan's talking about is just a traditional sweet corn. I think it's Silver Queen, maybe? Is that the right variety I planted?
I don't remember.
Or Aunt Mary's sweet corn? One or the other. In a previous video, we planted together some watermelon here in front of where these sugar snap peas are planted. And I just noticed that there's a little tiny baby watermelon popping up. Not a watermelon fruit, but the little plant. Ryan and I were just talking that it's kind of nice that you do have to pull stuff out of the garden. It doesn't last all season long. It makes it taste that much better when you do have it. I think if we had broccoli all summer long or sugar snap peas all summer long, we wouldn't enjoy it as much first thing in the spring when it's ready to be picked. It's kind of nice to have a variety of different produce ready to be harvested at different times. Ryan's been yanking off the peas off the trellis, and then I'm just going through and pulling any peas that may still be left on the vine on here so that we don't let it go to waste. The tomatoes we planted together are doing pretty good. They're definitely a little bit leggy, but I think if we tie them up to these trellises, they'll do all right. Oh, there's also a flower that was hiding amongst all those sugar snap peas. Pretty. Although I'm sure we will miss quite a few. But I do have several bowls of peas in the house as well. On the other side of the garden, Ryan went ahead and just ripped all the peas off because that's the trellis where we had the tomatoes planted. And those tomatoes are getting to the point where they do need to start being tied up. I just realized I never introduced ourselves. My name's Cara, and the handsome guy who's been helping me today is my husband, Ryan. I'm making him embarrassed by saying that, but it's true. We call our channel Bluebird Homestead. If you want to hear the story as to why, you can check out the video titled My Miracle Story on our channel. And if you're not subscribed already, feel free to follow along and hit the subscribe button and join us as we garden this summer. I always like it when Ryan and I get the opportunity to work in the garden together. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes we're doing our own projects, or one of us is watching the kids while the other one's getting a chore done, but it's nice. all the kids are napping right now, so we get to make the most of the afternoon.
Moving on to the next compost box.
I've showed you guys these poppies in a different video, but they're worth showing again. I think they're so fun. They're so fluffy. I don't normally go for things that are pink, but I kind of like the coral salmon color, and they just look unusual. Anyway, they're fun. Ryan had just run back to the house to grab some twine to tie up these frosted salmon poppies because they've kind of been flopping down. So we're gonna tie them up to this cattle panel trellis here to hopefully prevent them from flopping. When I was pulling them up, another one fell off too. So hopefully by tying them up, they don't fall and break prematurely. I think the weight of these flower heads is just what's making them fall over, because they are quite large and they're almost the size of a softball. So I think this twine will be good. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's tie up this other one too. They do seem rather fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Got a pretty good size main center stalk, but it's just heavy up top. This one maybe have to tie in two places. Thanks for running in the house to grab that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely appreciate not having to walk all the way back to the house right now. Yeah, I probably should have thinned him when they first came up. No, don't pull it. I don't want it to pull.
Got thin it.
I know, but the time for that was a long time ago.
Alright.
I'm too emotionally attached now.
Okay.
Got it? Thanks. We're just gonna try to put this tomato cage on the opposite side of this poppy here so that it won't flop over onto our cosmos flowers. I have dahlias planted along the front side of this bed, so in a week or two here we need to get a stake and then do kind of like a corral trellis system. So we'll just incorporate these into that once that time comes.
What kind of flowers are these?
So that right there is yarrow, and then this is cosmos.
Not the same.
No, they're two different. The cosmos you're supposed to pinch, and I've been procrastinating pinching them, and those poppies fell over and did the pinching for me.
You just break the top off?
Yeah, you're supposed to break the top off.
Where?
And then
Where?
just anywhere between a set of like leaves coming out, and that'll encourage it to branch and not go super tall.
Like right here?
Yeah. And then that way those lateral shoots grow more.
So the poppies
So you could do
were
that
not
one.
damaging. They were just
They were doing what I've been
naturally helping.
not wanting to do. Pinching flowers is one of those things that pains me to do a little bit, but I know it's probably the best thing to do for the plant. But the poppies were just helping me out. Well, thanks for hanging out with us as we ripped out some plants today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.